A very good evening to our viewers. Welcome to ELITETV and you're watching Open Debate in English. I'm Amrita, your host for this crucial debate on the topic, the aftermath of the student protests. Since July 6, Phijam Hemanjit and Hizam Ngangbam went missing. Family members thought they have gone somewhere safe and unable to return due to some unavoidable circumstances. CCTV footage showed them riding on a motorcycle towards south on Tidim Road. Sometime later, police located their mobile phones near Loktak Project Road before it went dead. It was found out much after tracking that the SIM cards of the phones have been changed and were being used by Kuki youths. Location of the phones were known. The police could have swung into action at that point, but that didn't happen. Family members and concerned citizens were clinging to a slender chance of hope that the duo might still be alive. But unfortunately, on the 25th of September, the last photographs of Ngangbam and Hemanjit flooded social media. The Manipur students were uncontrollable and came out on the streets to protest. The state government viciously cracked down on the protesters, causing injuries to about 200 of them. Some of them sustained grievous injuries from pellet guns. Soon after, the case was handed over to the CBI. As of today, 6 arrests have been made in relation to this case. To discuss this topic, let's welcome our panelists. Our first panelist is Professor Amar Yumanam, former Vice Chancellor, Manipur University. Welcome to Open Debate, Professor Amar Yumanam. Our next panelist is Dr. Ngangbam Shanti Kumar Meetei, Professor of English, Hungkou, Delin, University of Taiwan. Welcome to ELITETV's Open Debate, Dr. Ngangbam Shanti Kumar. And our third panelist for today...
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. And our third panelist for today is Mr. Jinine Laishramcha, Assistant Professor, University of Suwon, South Korea. Welcome to the ELITETV's Open Debate, Mr. Jinine.
My pleasure.
Okay, let's start the debate right away. I'll be coming first to Professor Yumanam. My question to you, Professor Yumanam, is why the state government has failed to take prompt action on their own, since we have leads right from the start. They have tracked the mobile phones of the victims. And why did they take such a long time to take action? The government seems to sit on such cases until a huge protest breaks out, and then they take up an action. Why is it so?
See, the problem with the state government as of today, what I see is that, number one, well, the state government herself seems to be under pressure from all angles, and it doesn't seem to possess the capacity to handle the various pressures, number one. Number two, the state government doesn't seem to have any kind of determination to resolve the problem. That is understandable, since it can't digest the issues, it doesn't have the capacity to handle the issues. And since it doesn't have the issues, understanding of the issues, the state government doesn't have any commitment. So we have a crisis in Manipur today where there is no government. It is as if we don't have a government.
Right.
In the federalism, which India is, the provincial government is fundamental in saying to it that the various provincial problems are taken care of. And we have, well, in name, a provincial government which doesn't seem to understand and which does not even try to understand the issues. And because of that, it doesn't have to have any feeling, any willingness, and it doesn't even try to understand the problem by consulting the various groups. Some personnel might be having with some people kind of discussion, but we have a state government when it doesn't understand the problem which the province is facing. Well, we have a government which doesn't want to consult the people.
Yes.
We have a government which is not committed to anything. So we have a failure of governance failure. That's why I said that as of today, it is as if we don't have a government in Manipur.
Right. It's a very scathing remark against the government from Professor Yumanam that as of today, as if there is no government. That is from the government side, we have not seen any determination nor any commitment to resolve such issue, as if they have turned a blind eye to the ongoing crisis. I'll be coming to Dr. Shanti Kumar, that many sensational criminal cases have been always, the public have always demanded that such kind of sensational cases be handed over to the CBI or the NIA. What's the reason behind it? Is it because the state police lack competence, or the public do not have any confidence in the state police? Or how can the state police force rebuild competence and restore confidence of the public if that is the case? Dr. Shanti Kumar. Dr. Shanti Kumar, am I audible? I think we may have a...
there are cuts between...
Yes, there are internet interruptions.
So,
sure.
Is it my problem or from your side? I'm not sure.
Oh, I can hear you and see you nicely.
Okay,
well. No? Okay.
All right. So the question was about.
Yes, the cases being handed over to the CBI. Is there any lack in the state police force?
The NIA,
yes.
Like that, instead of police and. Okay.
I think we may have interruptions in the connectivity from Dr. Shanti Kumar. So, if Dr. Shanti Kumar, if you can hear me, then I'll come back again to you in the next round. So I'll be moving on to.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you? Yes, can you continue, please?
So,
okay.
People like to the extent like see.
There seems to be a network problem.
Yes, there seems to be a network problem. So I'll be coming back to you again, Mr. Shanti Kumar. I'll be going to Mr. Jinine Laishramcha. So it was the same question. So I would like to hear from you that such cases are being handed over to CBI. Even the people demand this. So do you think is it because the people lack trust in the state police force, or if so, then is there any way to rebuild that trust again? To Mr.
I think there may be multiple kind of complex situation, and answer may be also there may be multiple answers because there are multiple factors there. Yeah, of course, as you said that people have not been able to enjoy that kind of trust towards the police department like for the last 30 or 40 years. So yeah, it's very clear that people don't have trust, confidence in the police, their service, their activities, and it involves a lot of things like corruption during the time of the recruitment and governance. So that's one thing. And the second is that the case is going to New Delhi, like CBI or NIA, that central kind of agencies, because the happening is involving Jinine group, militants, armed groups, and also involves other community, and it also involves some more stakeholders. So this is not like a case happening inside a small district, and it involves a lot of stakeholders. So in some situation, it may be difficult to handle by the state police force. That may be one reason. But more or less, I believe that, yeah, the corruption and absence of the governance and the lack of the accountability, no transparency there, it's not happening just now. Like over the last 5 years. No, it's been like rooted and becoming kind of structural kind of problem. So people cannot believe in police just based on the past experiences.
Okay. So the point that has been put forward is that too many stakeholders are at stake already, and then the deep-rooted corruption and deep-rooted lack of accountability for a long time has put the people to be distrustful of the police force. I'll be coming back to, again, Mr. Shanti Kumar, if the network is all right. Okay, I'll be going to Professor Yumanam. Professor Amar Yumanam. My question is that we all remember the case of Rabina and Sanjit that happened on 23rd July 2009. And the case was also handed over to the CBI at that time. Despite damning evidence and even a confession tape, it was acquitted by the court not very long ago. So what went wrong with such a case being handled by the CBI? Professor Yumanam.
Well, let me add to what our Jinine has said.
Sure.
Corruption and all that, and that has made state police inefficient or incompatible with the scale of the issues. That is a very big tragedy in the sense that when the crisis, which has been with us for 5 months, and we said that the state police has not been able to perform properly because of corruption happening. And that is much more unfortunate in the sense that the police, state force, provincial security forces are not able to handle the crisis because of the corruption happening. That speaks of the quality of governance. Police are not able to perform because governance itself is incapable and unwilling to perform anything. What the government of Manipur has been looking for, what is, but as he steps somehow to make the people that we are there, but their objective is not to address any of the issues. Let's look at the issues. Let's look at 2-3 cases where some people, some common people have used abusive language, and we have seen immediately the second day or third day the state security forces catching up those people and making them admit to the public that they have made excessive statement, things like that. That means we are yet to see the orientation, what exactly is the orientation of the provincial government, and what exactly is the commitment of the provincial government. Because state security forces will work only under the political command, administrative command. When the administrative structure, when the governance structure, governance orientation, governance willingness, governance commitment are very unclear, the state police will not be able to function.
Right.
That is where we have a very unfortunate incident, the case which you have asked me. Despite the fact that there have been admission to the crime,
Yes.
there has been no solution.
Exactly.
See, to solve my problem, the critical responsibility is mine. Let's be very clear. Whether there is federalism or only one government being a separate country, the fundamental importance to the livelihood and the safety of life and the livelihood of the people relate directly to the quality of governance, which is being delivered at a local level. So the quality of governance which is being delivered at a local level. In the case of Manipur, it is the government of Manipur. When the government of Manipur is not delivering or is not giving us any kind of manifestation of the orientation, of the commitment, of the willingness to act, and when all those determinations are absent, even the unitary power, that is CBI, when the provincial government is not itself very willing to address the issues for a final conclusion, you can blame the CBI. If the provincial government is absolutely committed and putting pressure and orientation is such that when it comes to Manipur problem, we don't care whether you resolve. Not saying that Bihar problem should not be solved, Maharashtra problem should not be solved. But for Manipur, we don't know about anything. For Manipur, we want to see to it that our problems are resolved.
Yes.
When we don't have that kind of a provincial government, how do you expect some, well, federal authority to act on our issues? So the fundamental responsibility, fundamental requirement of taking responsibility is with the provincial government. That is where we are in. I would once again say that the problem is not one of federalism. The problem is one of orientation, determination, and the commitment of the provincial government. That is where we are in.
Okay, one more supplementary question to Mr. Yumanam in continuation with this question that what according to you, how can the police force be made more professional and free from political interference? As you mentioned that the state government is not proficient.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Yes, how can the police force be made professional and how can the police force be made free from political interference?
Let's be very clear. Let's not think that our police are not professional.
Okay.
Our police forces have undertaken the kind of training any police force in this country has undertaken.
Yes.
When they have undergone the same kind of training program, attended the same kind of, well, orientation to make them very, very competent. Well, it cannot be that they are less competent from their compatriots in other states of the country. With the same kind of training, with a similar level of qualification and competence, why is it that police forces, for example, in Bombay are much more efficient than other police forces in other parts of the country?
Yes.
It's because the orientation, fortunately for Bombay, is that the orientation all along and the expectation of the people all along have been, well, the police have to deliver.
Yes.
In the case of Manipur, we are yet to create a kind of a social imperative where the police have to deliver. And we have to have a kind of imperative where the administration, I mean the government, insists that the police have to deliver. So we have a situation where the police is not compelled by the provincial government. Police is not compelled by the overall larger society we are in. So it's not the lack of training or competence, it is the absence of the kind of pressure which our police forces are supposed to work under. And that is missing. That is missing in the case of Manipur.
That is from a will from the higher authorities or just to perform their services. So Dr. Ngangbam, Shantikumar, so is it audible from our side now?
Yes, sure.
Okay. We were discussing about this the state police force handling of the cases to the CBI, and now I'll be coming to you to another question that in this recent student agitation that has happened in the past week, we have seen the use of a brutal lathi charge. We have seen the use of pellet guns extensively. In September 2017, that is a few years ago, Amnesty International, that is an international organization on human rights, they have sent out a report and condemned the use of pellet guns, which was used in Kashmir during that time. They even said that pellet guns to be called as non-lethal is a fallacy, that it is very lethal and even causes a lot of serious injuries and even death. So there are many other riot control tools such as tear gas, mob bombs and water cannons. So why are they not being used, and Why only the pellet guns are used extensively in these peaceful student protests?
Yeah, it is very sad to see that kind of incidents happen to, especially to our young students, especially. They are very young. I mean, range
Yes.
from say age from say 15 above. I mean, they are very young. I
Yes,
mean,
school
so
students.
when they march, they protest. Yeah, when they march, they protest against the and for the justice of Ngambi and Hemanjit. I think police they render this very horrible charge against innocent students. I mean, they were not armed, they were not holding any kind of weapon or dangerous things, and they were just marching and I mean, asking the government for justice to be given to for the death of this Ngambi and Hemanjit. But unfortunately, like they use tear gas and then even the pellet guns and the lathi charge and all kinds of these horrible things were rendered to the students. I mean, given to the students. I think the main reason for giving this kind of actions to the students is, I think, it's a lack of. I think these state forces and the central forces are they lack, I think, training about how to control this kind of mass protest. They have to look around. They have to be trained. I think, yeah, they have to be trained. They have to be. They have to listen to the world. They have to check, and they have to be given training. I think they're not really given training. Might be. I think this is one case. I think if they know, if they had the training properly, probably they will consider. But the second one is, I think, responsibility.
Yes.
As a police personnel, as a army, as a central army, they should know what they can do and what they cannot do. The shooting and killing people can be done against the terrorists, but not to the young students who are, I mean, protesting. Looking for justice to be
Yes.
given. But so I think that they don't have the responsibility. They are away from their responsibility not to hurt the students. And the other one, I think, is, I think there's police personnel and the Central Army personnel. I think the lack of character. When we are responsible, when we have good training and we have character, I think we will focus what to do. We will know what to do actually. But why they use that kind of forces against these innocent students, very young students, and many girls, especially
Yes.
girls, and they got hurt. More than
Yes.
170 students got hurt.
Yes.
I feel very sure that kind of things never happen here in Taiwan. And I have seen these things happen many times in the states in different states of India, especially in Manipur, and that's very sad. So I think this police personnel, these commandos, the state forces, and then central forces, I think they need a very good training on how to control mass protests in public. And another thing is, on the second day or some few days later, a protest happened, but some of the policemen they treat. They even provided water, and I saw that. This is a very good
Yes.
example.
Yes.
There are things to, they can control the mass by giving, sympathy, by empathy, by
Yes.
sympathy, and by feeling how they feel. But they don't try to feel that. They have to look for their students' angle, why they are doing that. Instead of that, they just try to stop that by force. And when we use force, of course, the reaction will never be peaceful. So students may start, more rebellious, and they may start, throwing some stones, and
Yes.
they may even use, string shots and any kind of things they get in their hands. They may start using, and they may use even their physical forces to combat. I mean, those forces. So in that case, that's why I say these police personnel, they really need to get training how
Yes.
to improve and how to handle such kind of mass protest. And this will be very good for them because India is the biggest, India claims to be the biggest democracy in the world.
Yes.
But the problem is we don't follow. I mean, leaders, police personnel, they don't follow the rules.
Exactly.
That's why these things happen. So not only training, not only lack of training, not only lack of responsibilities and lack of characters, they also need to follow the rules of democracy. Not only
Yes,
them, the
very
leaders
beautiful.
also. If they follow that, I think such things will never happen again. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll be giving some more time to Mr. Shanti Kumar since you missed the first round due to the internet interruption. So my follow-up question to you, Mr. Shanti Kumar, is that since you're from Taiwan, and we also have heard from that there are a lot of protests in Taiwan in relation with China, and just general democratic dissent, the right to protest in Taiwan. So how does the police force in Taiwan handle such kind of riots or crowd control? How do they do that? Is it more humane? Is it more peaceful? How is it over at Taiwan?
Okay, I can tell you the one incident happened that was in 2014.
Sure.
You know, in my 25 years living here in Taiwan as a citizen of Taiwan, I have never come across any kind of protest or ban or blockade or road closed by student community or youth. But only one incident happened in 2014 regarding freedom of speech, freedom of expression. So this youth, they're not really students, but this youth, yes, some are students, but they're not that young like our students in Manipur. So they stormed the Congress, the Parliament of Taiwan. And then what happened, you know, these police personnel, they tried to stop them and they were handling very carefully, very nicely, but still they were punished by the government for mishandling by mistake, not deliberately, by mistake. You know, when mass protest comes, of course some mistakes can happen, right, from the police personnel.
Yes.
They had the very democratic way of protest, and they have the very well planned dealing with the protesters.
Yes.
But you know, those youth, they stormed the parliament from March 10 to April, less than 1 month.
Okay.
So there were, you know, incidents like some conflict between police and this youth, but those youth were never, not even one was arrested and put into jail or bail. But those police personnel who used a little bit force,
yes,
they were punished by the government and they were sent to another, you know, district or another county.
Okay.
But when we look at Manipur, I don't have to tell about that. You see the difference, right?
Yes.
So the humanity, the humanity ground is very much considered. The democratic rights of people, the right of people, the right of expression, the right of protest is actually given to every person in Taiwan. But when I say this, most of the youth, I would say never, youth and students community never protest. Now, right now we have tension, as you mentioned, right, between China and Taiwan, right? But this youth and student community never came out and protest about this. You know who did? Who takes care? All those political leaders from the ruling party and from the opposition party. So they will come out, they will talk, they will discuss, they will sit down face to face and they will discuss and they will decide what to do. So students, community, youths have nothing to do. That's why I also wrote an article about this, our youth of Manipur.
Yes.
I have written an article about them. I'm very sorry for them. You know, they are supposed to be in school, they are supposed to be in college, they are supposed to be in university, studying many things, planning for their future and planning what to give, what to contribute to the society. But now they are compelled to come out because our state government failed to do what they are supposed to do. And the central government also in different years they have.
Exactly,
So
yes.
I feel really sorry. Yeah, this is the case. This is the differences between Taiwan youth and students and the Manipur youth and Manipur student and our two governments in Taiwan and in India and Manipur. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The stark differences, despite India be claiming to be the biggest democracy, that even what is happening in Manipur right now is complete opposite of such freedom of expression, freedom of peaceful assembly, right to protest. And the reason that youths are coming out on the streets is purely and directly because the leaders have abandoned their roles. This is a very good point, and also a reminder that how a democratic proceedings should work. That's a very good point. So I'll be now coming over to Mr. Jinine Laishramcha. What do you think are the potential consequences of the state government using such harsh crackdown measures on the protesters, and implications? What do you think the future implications would be on future protests, like since the right to protest, right to dissent, and right to peaceful assembly and freedom of expression has been forcefully cracked down using security forces and all kind of brute forces? What do you think the consequences in the future for the people or for the citizens will be? To Mr. Jinine Laishramcha.
I believe that this is not the first time. Yeah, of course, using that pellet guns that, like, more dangerous and more threatening to the protesters. Using pellet guns maybe the first time, but we have experienced brutality, cruelty, and the absence of the governance and administration among the police. So I think, in one sense, I'm not surprised.
Right.
Just witness the happening this time, because we have experienced multiple times before. So, yeah, and accordingly, the people, including students and the Merapibis, they every time they come out and they take to the street.
Yes.
But I think there is something like impunity. That means that even though the people, including students, even though we are making noise a lot against the human rights violation or against the excessive uses of weapons towards the protesters, I think it may not work, because there has been a system that very rooted down and
Yes.
kind of structural kind of violence. So we need multiple kind of endeavors. We need multifold kind of attempts to reform police behaviors, police performance. For example,
Yes.
even though there is a good police officer, a good
Yes.
cop, he or she cannot perform independently, because always there is or there are political influences. Always there are interferences, unwarranted interferences for vested interest, political kind of
Yes.
agendas. So this is, this has been kind of culture tradition in India. And so the eventuality of what happened this time, I think I don't see any kind of a concrete and a very positive kind of thing, and people will continue to protest, and students will continue to make noises, because there are a lot of things, there are a lot of issues that we should make noise, and so we make noise all the time. the thing is that government, state government, New Delhi, they should take responsibility,
Yes.
and they must accept, they must acknowledge time comes to be changed. So police reform is very, very important.
Yes.
And not only this, we have to look larger background, larger picture of the electoral politics, governance, system, policies. Otherwise, I think things will remain same.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my point.
Okay, that's a very insightful point that Mr. Laishramcha has put, that the state, the deep-rooted political interference that has been going on in the state is a lot to blame for the events that have occurred. And also we will be needing police reform, and not just police reform, but a systemic revamp of the whole system that's going on, that's running the state right now. I'll be coming to Professor Yumanam. That there has been a cloud of Sure.
Before I hear, let me try to supplement the important points which Dr. Meetei and my good friend Jinine had
Sure,
put.
please go on.
I would like to share at this point, because the last 5 months, what Manipur has revealed to the world, and what Manipur has revealed to myself as a student of development studies, is that the global lesson today is that any kind of policy intervention for transformation should be relevant to the context. We
Yes.
call it in economics contextualization.
Okay.
These days in development policy, we only talk in terms of contextualization. And if the policy is not relevant,
Yes.
is not alive to the context, it will not give the results. And we know, say in the case of India, why did the Green Revolution happen in Punjab?
Yes.
We know the farming was linked with the river system, water system in Punjab. So Green Revolution was a wonderfully successful intervention in the case of Punjab.
Right.
And let's go to the neighboring country, Bangladesh. Why is it that while other neighboring countries are failing, why today Bangladesh is transforming so wonderfully well? And let's go a little further, other places also. So coming to Manipur, we can talk about South Korea, what is happening in Thailand now, what is happening in Philippines. Even forget these countries, how is it that even Indonesia today is transforming so wonderfully, joining in the race for development?
Yes.
Forget that. But while talking of development, there is something called social norms. Well, if a particular person suffers, if we feel that that suffering is not justified, the whole society gets automatically mobilized. This is not a, well, in the case of other societies, in the case of, well, other countries, we do not find the kind of scenario we are seeing in Manipur today. In a very spontaneous way, the society itself will come out as a whole. This we call it institutional economics, or institutions in short in Manipur. They process institutional economics and institutions. So when it comes to the social institutions, Manipur today still display powerful social institutions which can be the foundation for a very, very successful social intervention. And the other one is geography.
Yes.
Geography is the land. How our livelihood is linked with our livelihood, we call it geographic studies, geographic economics. Well, the last 5 years have revealed to us that the relationship between institutions and society, and the relationship between institutions and the geography are already so mature among the Meiteis and so also among the Nagas. Unfortunately, among the Cookies, we are yet to find characteristics of mature institutions or any institution getting mature, and what should be the relationship between geography and our social development. They may claim anything, but they have not yet developed the kind of social maturity, social feeling, social complementary relationship between institutions and society, between society and the geography. And the last 5 months, in the case of Manipur, unlike anywhere else in the world, we see wonderful display of very robust relationships in institutions and how our society functions, and how geography is, how it is related to our social functioning. In the same way, our women Marapa, we call it by name, and our women groups coming out, let's not take it as simple. It is a social norm, it is a social institution, which we don't find elsewhere in the world. And our boys and the girls from the school coming out, it's just so much, the institution social norms are so much part of our own personality as a member of society, such that while certain big issues are not addressed, we are there for the society. So the kind of social commitment which are visible in Manipur today is not something which we have not seen elsewhere. The question is, how do we relate this robust strength? These are very robust things. So we are not thinking of what would the central say under federalism, what would the centrist say. The question is, how can we work towards evolving a kind of intervention, a kind of policy formulation, a kind of development intervention whereby we are alive to the contextual realities of Manipur.
Yes.
This is a, see, for example, we take New York, if one is used to New York, one can easily use to London. No. If you go to New York, say pub, if you go to a pub in New York, it's a place where you can have some drinks. But if you go to a pub in London, it's a place where you can relax, you can build friendship, yes. You can even build friendship with the people who are employed there and they take care of, you can spend time. But right. In the case of London, it's a very robust social institution, whereas pub in the case of New York is a place where you can just enjoy some drinks.
Yes.
So what is much more important today is that we need a government. I will not talk of giving training or to police or anything. We need a government which is alive, yes, to the prevailing social institutions. General term is known to the prevailing social institutions and the prevailing relationship between people and geography, and evolve policies allied to this. Our training for police, our training for officers, all these should be related to the social realities about institutions, relevance of institutions, and our relationship with geography, and how can we make all this efforts. This, okay, you are going to ask me something.
Yes, that's a very good point. I also want to restate that again, that policies that are feasible in any other place will not necessarily be feasible in another area, because we need to apply this the relevant to the context. It's a very good point, and I'll keep that in mind. And so the question I was about to ask you is that there is a cloud of mystery regarding the imposition of Article 355 in Manipur, which is that the state protects the center protects the state in case of any kind of external aggression, or in case there is any internal disturbance. Some say that it is enforced, others say it is not. It looks like there is no document relating to this. So why is there such a big controversy? 355, exactly.
Well, I got your point. 355. You know, one of the biggest debates among political economists. Political economy in the sense those who study economics, political science, and sociology. The biggest debate in the world today is India still democracy?
Yes.
The latest issue of Journal of Democracy, which is published from Johns Hopkins University of the United States, has 5 full articles devoted to answering the question, is India still a democracy?
Right.
So when it comes to Article 355, the question to be asked is India still a federal country? Is federalism still functioning? Still relevant, or is there something else? Well, Article 355, when it comes to the constitutional article, is very common, and it's very clear. Some external aggression or the provincial disturbance is such that, well, the state government is not able to function. There are signs of the provincial governments almost getting sidelined. Well, there are also signs that the provincial government, just to ensure that their continuance in power, well, is allowed. So they function as if, okay, whatever center wants, the unitary authority, the federal authority wants, we are ready for that. There is no sign of assertion from the provincial authority about the rights, about the responsibilities, about the fundamental imperatives to be done at this moment. There's nothing of that sort. So when it comes to Article 355, well, right now my question is India still practicing federalism?
That is to be noted, to be honest. Even in my opinion, the structure of federalism, or is India still a democracy, it's still to be noted. And moving on with our debate, I will be coming to Dr. Ngangbam Shantikumar. My question is that the youths, the Manipur youths, generally the Manipur youths have been subjected to a lot of atrocities for the past many years. And there is still a lot of cases still pending, a lot of these fake encounter issues, a lot of custodial deaths reported. So how do you think this will collectively contribute for the Meetei society, for our society in Manipur as a whole in the future?
It's a very, very bad scenario. As I mentioned before, youths, are supposed to be in schools, in institutions, in workplace, in training grounds. They are supposed to live, doing exercise and sports for their health. Without health, we cannot contribute anything to our families or to our society. And when they are supposed to do these things, they are compelled to come out from these zones, and then they start holding arms, and they start doing crimes, and they start using drugs and many things. Youth, they will go in different directions. Some will go for underground youth, underground. Some will go to some will be, of course, some crimes will go for study and higher study. They will have better life in the future. But many will go on the side and they will start using drugs. Some frustrated because they don't have jobs. So there are so many, angles, so many ways that youths of future are diverted, and they are totally spoiled and destroyed. Why? Because our state government is not working competently. For the last many years, since Manipur came to India, it became one of the states in India. I think since then, for the last, let's say for the last 75 years, Manipur hasn't progress. We can say that way. I mean, compared to other countries, other Oriental countries, how in 50 years, 50 years, a place, a country can develop so much, but in 75 years, can you imagine? We don't have 2 national highways, which can have 2 lanes.
Yes.
We don't have. So that means we've been failing our state for the last 75 years. Of course, we can also blame to the central government. We cannot say only the state can develop. No, central has to look after the state also, all the states in India, especially states in the northeast because of our geographical difficulties. But for the last 75 years, only in the last few years, India, central government started looking, to us. They started helping. They started this northeast policy, huh?
Yes.
Its policy is look at
look is policy, act is policy. Yes.
Look is policy, act is policy. This kind of thing came only in the last few years. But before that, what happened? Nothing.
No.
So we were really look with indifferent eyes from the central government, as well as our leaders didn't do honestly with, didn't rule the country, didn't rule our state honestly. That's why all these problems come, and because of incompetence, because of this corruption, because of all this failing in the state government, all our youths are diverted in different ways, and many are spoiled, and many got killed. Many are traumatized, and many are so worried about how they are going to live their future. You know what? When all the young people, all the students here in Taiwan are so much focused on their studies, on their future, what kind of jobs they like to do, what kind of cars they like to buy, what kind of house, what size house they like to buy, and how many children they like to have, and they are busy thinking on such things, while our youths have no future, because the future is not given by our government and by the central government. You see, that's why many youths are, because they don't like to study anymore, because there are so many educated people, but at the end, after spending many years, to do master and even PhD and MPhil, what they get? Once they come home, they cannot get anything without paying lakhs and lakhs of rupees for a small job. It would happen to me. If I were in Manipur, I was looking for a government job, I would never get. And I had no money. My family poor, so I couldn't possibly do any business from my side. There's really, really no future, no hope. That's why youths, they will go this way, they will go that way, they will go that way, instead of focusing on what they are supposed to do. And right now, our youth are doing the same thing. This youth of Manipur, why they came out? They're not supposed to come out, right? They're not really experienced about politics. They're not really experienced about business. They're not really experienced about shooting or, killing or conflict. But they came out. Why? The answer is because they have no hope to the central government, and they have no hope to the state government. That's why they think, if I keep playing, doing exercise, and I'm trying for Asian Games or Olympic Games, and I'm trying to finish my PhD or master or high school, what is the point if Manipur is broken? If the integrity of Manipur is broken, there's no hope. That's why the first thing they like to do is to shape Manipur, to shape the integrity of Manipur. That's why they came out. And if we like to stop, if we like to create a developed Manipur, a future, if we like to give a bright future to the youths of Manipur, then the state government has to work sincerely, honestly, and
Yes.
do their responsibilities.
Yes.
Then only we can shape these youth, and we can have hope, and we can have vision for our youth. Otherwise, I feel very, very worried and sad. And now, recently, they went to Delhi, 25 of them, they went and they called all the MLAs and the minister,
Right.
but the chief minister didn't go.
No.
Why? I think he might have many doubts that he could answer those questions raised by those youth.
Right.
Or there might be hidden agenda in the central government, which our CM cannot help.
Right.
So there might be many reasons why he didn't go, but in my opinion, it should have been better if he went there and at least sit down and discuss something. Whether they agree or disagree, what results came out depend on their discussion. But at least the youth of Manipur would have been felt better.
Yes.
But they came back not happy because our CM didn't care, or I don't know if he was too busy here looking after the situation, but I don't know. But in my opinion, he should have gone there and spent some time with the youth of Manipur. And if they cannot solve the problem in Delhi, of course, right now we have time. The youth of Manipur should calm down, and our politicians, our leader, should be humble. They should be humble. They shouldn't be arrogant. They are very arrogant.
Yes.
And they don't listen to people. They don't listen to the suffering, to protest, to people's voices. That shows how arrogant they are. And that makes our youth, our people, more rebellious and more angry.
Yes.
So the best way for the youth of Manipur, and for students, and for the politician, and for everybody is to calm down. From the youths, calm down, and from the politicians, be humble. Don't be arrogant, and please sit down face to face and discuss again. Why not? One time is not the last time. So
Yes.
they can discuss many times. They can talk, they can discuss, and they can bring out the solution.
Yes.
Right? So that's all. Yeah, I would like to say. Yeah.
Yes, the need for the youth to feel heard, to have someone, especially the leader, to listen to our grievances. It's a very much need of the hour for now. So I'll be coming to Mr. Jinine Laishramcha. That, as we all know, that today is the 2nd of October, and we are celebrating the birth anniversary of the peace leader of Mahatma Gandhi. And one of his key mottos of his life is that honesty is the best policy. My question to you is, Mr. Jinine, do you think the state government, or even the central government, follows the policy of honesty in making their policies, in making their resolutions?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I don't know. Answer is answered by all. A lot of politics going on. A lot of vested interests are applied. So, yeah, to be frank, that's a universal kind of phrase or philosophy that honesty is the best policy, which is not practiced at all. So, yeah. I know humans are not perfect, chief minister, prime minister, or voters, but at least 65%, maybe 70%, if we can practice honesty, then problem will be solved, and there may be transformation towards a progressive direction. But unfortunately, people, general population, as well as the government and the politicians and the political activists, they enjoy dishonesty because they are coming out for their personal interest, vested interest, or group interest. So that's a very unfortunate. And the thing is that when it comes to Manipur, we say very often patriotism or patriotic kind of response, and we claim that we are very patriotic this time, particularly Meetei community, and including politicians. We claim that we love our motherland Manipur, and I'm patriotic, and we are patriotic and we love patriotism. But if they love or if they commit to patriotism, we have to ask that kind of question and the philosophy that you put up here today. Honesty is the best policy. So here, first I think government, that people working or taking responsibility in the government, they should love their country sincerely and straightforward, but they do not do so because maybe there are a lot of excuses, like ministers or MLAs. They face the situation that during the election time they spent a huge amount of money. They spent a huge amount of money for what?
Yes.
To satisfy their voters,
Right.
by giving some 2,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, and
Yes.
just offering, the lunch, dinner, a lot of illegitimate kind of practices. And so here I see two evils. Like half of the evil is general population, we the voters, and half of the evil is that political class.
Yes.
And if we realize this practice, that the dirty practices during the election, this is one of the factors. I know there is not a singular factor of the present crisis that are happening between. It looks like between Chinkuki and the Meetei community, but there are only partial of the situation or conflict. There are other stakeholders, New Delhi,
Yes.
government of Manipur, and geopolitical element there.
Yes.
And what is the role of the defense? That's the again role importance of the New Delhi. So there are multiple segments of this pie of the problem, and if we look at a single kind of element, then it will be difficult to resolve or to transform this crisis. And we need to look at the diverse and multiple factors and causes. That's very important. And one more thing I would like to just mention regarding the present happening crisis. I feel like Imam Manipur is facing like 4 battles, not one battle.
Okay.
There are 4 battles. Yes, the first battle is between the Shinkuki or like narco-terrorist group and the Meetei people. That's the first physical kind of battle. Second battle is the political activists or politicians. They are fighting for their chairs. They want to
Yes.
retain their powers, or they want to practice their vested interest for their personal gains, or maybe small group interest. That's second battle. And the third battle is New Delhi, and it's very confusing. And sometimes, rather than confusion, it is very clear. The response from the New Delhi is very unfortunate. New Delhi is not responding that's supposed to,
Yes.
like Prime Minister and like Home Minister. So it's a very, very unfortunate, and like they are taking us for granted, or I don't know. They
Yes,
think
yes.
that we are very, very insignificant.
Yes, yes.
Like
No
we-
response is a response, to be honest. No decision is a
Yeah.
decision. No response is a response. Yes, good point.
Yeah. So they think that Manipur is very insignificant. So then questioned, then like this present crisis, maybe the second crisis. First crisis was in 1949, the time when Manipur controversially merged to India Union.
Yes.
So the question is that why was Manipur merged at that time? Yes, Manipur was merged, hoping that there will be a better time. But where is the better time?
Exactly.
So this kind of discrimination from the bigger power, I mean New Delhi, so they acknowledged their response, and also we will continue to
Could you
voice
please,
against.
Mr. Jinine, could you please mention, you mentioned that there we are fighting 4 battles, you have mentioned the third. What was the 4th battle that you were going to say?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yes.
In fight between the Meeteis, how many organizations this time?
Exactly.
Uncountable. And we fight one another.
Yes.
Meeteis, particularly Meeteis, we
A lot of
fight one
organizations
another,
sprouting up.
and yeah, we do not like to hear what you say, and you
Okay.
do not like to hear what I say. Only we put forward my interest, my group's interest, and we forget what is the issue, big issue. We're leaving the big issue behind, and so this is like a mobocracy mobbed, because we do not like to hear what other
Mobocracy. Very good point.
other group says. Only my group interest.
Okay.
Only
Okay,
my
Mr. Jinine,
organization
we're almost out of time. We would like to hear more from you. It was a really, really good point. That is a very good insight. The 4 battles that you put through. That it's truly we are fighting a lot of battles at one. Like too many cooks spoil the broth. We are experiencing that exactly now. I would like to continue ask more questions from all of you, but I will have to wrap up for today. So I'd like to thank our panelists, Professor Amar Yumanam, former VC Manipur University, Dr. Ngangbam Shantikumar Meetei, Professor of English, Hungkou Delin, University Taiwan, and Mr. Jinine Laishramcha, Assistant Professor, University of Suwon, South Korea. I'd also like to thank our viewers for tuning in tonight. Please share your feedback and comments with us. We'll be back again next Monday, same time, with more exciting topics. Please keep watching Elite TV. I'm your host, Amrita, signing off. Have a good week.